Well, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Airfix and Chill. Isn't it great to have us on a Monday? It's your first day back at work. It's been a bit shit. You can go onto your workbench and listen to us talk crap.
Ugly mugs come in.
What's that, mate?
6 ugly mugs come in, and on the
Yeah.
other evening, you're like, ah.
Yeah, I know, it's dreadful, really. And anyways, good evening. I have invited a few on tonight, as normal. There's a mailing list. Lucas said he can't make it. I've not heard from John Parker. Nigel will be in once he's had his 3 calls light, so he'll probably be in then. I've heard I was at Model Show on Saturday and met up with quite a few. It was Model Fest and it was great. I was there with Ben was there as well with his table of goodies. How do you think it went, Ben? I thought it was a really bloody good show for what it is, you know?
I thought it was a very good show.
Yeah.
Farm was always a good location, big sports hall, has generally a very big area, and like it brought you guys as far from Exeter and I think in the east. People from Kent. So you know that's a pretty good span for just what is really a local, maybe teetering on regional show now. So yeah, very, very good.
Yeah, as I said, in the areas we're at, I'm more southwest, so anything like Bristol backwards, it's the same old faces, but they're good faces to me up. And then you get to the Farnborough, and then you've got another load of faces that you'll see once a year, and then also you got Telford, which is another different matter anyway. But it's just so nice to meet up with the folks. And all those who come and said hi to me and said hi to Ben, thank you very much. Had some really good chats. It was really good. Anyway, so we got James on, we got Jim, we got Zinzan, we got John, and we got Ben. We're going to talk about marketing, really, with scale modeling. So, and the whole remit of marketing a brand. Now, I am somebody who collects Airfix. I'll say, you all know me. There's not a lot I don't know about Airfix. I've been invested in the brand since I was a child. And it wasn't just the scale modeling. I had the toys, I had the games, and I've got a lot of it up in my attic. I'm selling a lot of it off, to be honest, because we're going to move, and I just feel that I've tracked all this stuff around with me, and I've built up it, and I think maybe it's time for somebody else to own it. And one of the things I always get asked about, especially if I bring my case along to a show, is the Airfix collectible coins. Now, that's classed as a gimmick. That's classed as a sales gimmick. Does it make me buy a kit? Well, yes, it does, because with that kit comes with the coin. So, and I've got all the coins. So when a kit comes out and there's a coin, I will buy it and get that coin. Airfix do sell the coins sometimes on their own, like the club members ones. They were 250 quid. And a chap came up to me and said, why do they do a coin? And I said, well, why not? And he said, I just don't see the point of them. And I said, but that's your thought on this, that you don't see the point of the coin. But as somebody that likes collecting things like coins or anything with a brand on, and by the way, I don't just collect, Airfix branded stuff. I like Superbike stuff. So I will buy a Kawasaki with the team colors t-shirt, things like that, or a jacket or something.
Yeah.
But to me, isn't. But I said, let me just explain that when it comes to popularity, those 500 coins are sold out on a pre-order. Now, is that clever marketing for Airfix? Just put it out there. Is that the sort of thing that you would expect a model company to do to sweeten the deal of buying a coin? And like I said to the chap, I said, if you don't want that coin and you're paying full retail price, wouldn't you then buy it off Jadlam, or would you not buy it off Wonderland Models or Scale Model Shop at the cheap price of the coin? Oh, I didn't think of that. That was his response. I was like, yeah.
Mm.
So it's a way of getting you to buy off the Airfix website, but you don't want that coin and that's not your draw. Wouldn't you just think of buying it from another model shop which won't have the coin and probably get it for about 10% cheaper? So there you go. That's the start. That's my thoughts on it. Go on then, Roger. You click on.
So there are two things that you talk about here. There's a sales tool and then there's a marketing tool. So we can, I think, quite easily fit a coin or something like that, or a glass or some goo as a sales tool. Why do we say that? Well, we might say that because it's a tool that's designed to increase sales, because the value of the thing that you give away is less than the value that people are giving you in that sense. So it's a way of boosting one's sales number. And as such, these things work very well because there is a small but dedicated number of people who want to have those coins, and they will pay a premium for it. And they're happy to do so because a fair exchange is no robbery.
Mm.
Then there are marketing tools, and they're a bit different, and they fit, broadly speaking, as far as I'm aware, into two categories. There's what they call above the line and below the line. Above the line means to the end user. I hardly even know why I'm saying this. Of course, you all know this. And below the line is to the trade. Both of these marketing tools are designed with a number of purposes, but in the main, they are there to represent the image of the company, to present it in its best light, to show a philosophy, all of those kind of things. And I simply say this because I feel that it's important to be able to just separate those two things out. So Lidl might say, buy one 172 scale kit and get the second one half price. That's a sales tool. Airfix may get involved in, for example, building kits at Duxford. That's a marketing tool.
Yeah.
So those are the differences there. The clever manufacturers like Airfix definitely get involved in those sort of things at Duxford, and you can go along to those kind of things, Fairford, Duxford, and you can see young kids going and sitting down with Airfix employees and building kits, and they're recruiting the next generation.
Yeah.
Great way of spending the money. And it's one of the things that marketeers and sales departments have a real problem with, because quite frequently they're at different sort of places in terms of what they want. So when marketing budget is discussed by companies, they're looking for different things. But those are my thoughts. I like the idea of sales tools. They're extremely useful, and they benefit people. And with the coins, well, the early bird gets the worm, doesn't it? And if you've collected,
I am an early bird. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and good for you.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of people like you, and I think
Yeah.
that's important.
Yeah. This is the case I bought to house, all the coins. I've got every single one except the ones from the ones that ended up in Australia, believe it or not. The only person I know that's got all the coins is actually Dale, but he has the gold one, the very first ones, which are gold. So, it's but yeah, if I just say Wendy Meeple there. I'm a total sucker for a gimmick, but I won't pay more for it, but would probably buy it if it has one. And I think that's what I'm trying to get at. I don't look at it as gimmicky in the sense or it's a sales gimmick. Merchandising is all part of marketing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, don't get me wrong. I've got a Tamiya lunchbox that I use regularly because it's got a Tamiya logo on it. If Airfix bought one, I'll probably use that one instead. But yeah, I think sometimes you got to look at it in the sense of you want to, merchandise is one of the ways a company will use their brand to raise money to invest in what their core thing is. I'm pretty sure that things like the water bottles and the hats that Airfix are selling at the moment on their website, that's money for capital to invest in another tool. So it's a win-win for me.
Yeah, essentially, marketing. A Korean marketing manager I knew many, many years ago said, "Sales is for today's customer, marketing is for tomorrow's customer." Essentially, I think that tends to cover it off fairly well, to be honest with you.
Julian Hall, question: do modelers see items that are not models as diverting resources from the core activity of making and selling models? No. So let's go back to the big hoo-ha about those watches. Okay, the Aviate watches. I've got one somewhere. It's actually upstairs because I wore it. Well, I wear it out. I think it's a mosquito one I wear. Mosquito one. I wear it out for evenings. That all that company did was pay Airfix a license to use their brand. Airfix didn't have any real say in how they're manufactured. They just got, I believe, a licensing fee to put their branding on a watch, and then gave the okay to the designs of those watches. And I think I presume they would have got a commission for every watch that sold. Airfix didn't design those watches. Basically, they got a company came to them and said, we want to invest in these kind of military kind of watches, and we think that Airfix would be a good fit. So what did so that their money that was used from those watches would be then put into manufacturing other tooling, other resources, so there is that one big pot, and I think that's a fair way of doing it. And I think it was a genius move because, as I said, Airfix didn't have to design those watches, didn't have to find a manufacturer to make those watches. All they had to do was give them the authority to use their logo. You got any thought on that, Ben?
I mean, with the watches, as long as it didn't cost Airfix any money, so divert funds away, sort of like Julian was saying, from a core activity, I don't see a problem with that sort of marketing, i.e. they're licensing their brand and designs to other companies to then go generate, and they'll get, like you say, a royalty or commission. That sort of marketing, not a problem. When it comes to marketing that comes out of their budget and it's unwise, that's where I start to have problems. The sales gimmick ones, so I don't mind their marketing per se, sort of like Zinza says, above and below the line of, so like from a trade perspective, that would be paint stands, that would be starter set racks, how they were designed, how they layout. So basically to support the sales, but they're inferior marketing tool because they would be to help the trade to do it. And for example, if they were to sponsor events, again, like the Make and Paint's a good example. That's always very good. The stuff to the public, I mean, I think with Airfix it's very hit and miss at times. I think like their beer glass, having those sort of commodities, the hats, those things are good. They've got general appeal, and from a cost point of view, they're very low, and they've got probably a high turnover, and they're probably making them a fair chunk of money because of production costs. Again, you see that out and about. It's cost very little to produce, and it's a good marketing brand. Now, when it comes to the sales marketing, the sales items such as the challenge coins, I take a different view on that. And the same sort of with pin badges and things like that goes with the kits. I think my problem is a bit like Julian. It's going to naturally put the cost of the kit up because they're going to have to include it as part of their overall costings. I would rather have a cheaper kit than have any coins or be in existence. For me, they are not an important part of the hobby, nor would they give me any interest. Challenge coins I like in general, but they're for squadrons and stuff. So when I go to Reat, I'll always get patches and that. But that's a separate hobby. I would never necessarily buy an Airfix one or look to buy an Airfix one. I think a brand that sort of says most about you don't need necessarily all these things, or certainly sort of like enticements to sales, is Tamiya. You know, they've got very few. They've got a couple you can buy, but they don't generally put anything within their kits to sort of get you to buy it. The quality, all the money generally has gone into the engineering of the kit. There's very little external marketing or sales pushing that needs to be done.
Just on a query with that, Tamiya's shop, I believe, because I was talking about this at the weekend, when you go to Japan, they have a raft of merchandise that they sell from their shop.
And they do, but that's merchandise. So that's a bit like the hats, it's like the glasses. That's okay.
Yeah.
That I haven't got a problem with.
Is it the pin badge merchandise?
Not really. So like I've got the beer away one that they gave away at Reat.
Yeah.
If it's an Airfix pin badge, yes. But if it's like a beer away because that's to do with the specialist, Spitfire, then no.
But who's to say that the company, was it Camera? Is it the Real Ale company, or whatever it was? Who's to say that they didn't put the money up for those badges?
No, but that's what I'm saying. If it's no cost to Airfix, I have no problem. If it's a larger strategic cost that is inevitably going to put the price of a kit up that you want to buy, I'm generally against it as a point of principle.
See, the thing about Airfix is they're quite stuck in their pricing strategy. See, we don't know what they've spent or what they've paid for those badges or whatever. So, because the series, every series has got a price point, they have to hit that price point.
But
so,
for example,
say they brought out, that Spitfire, that not the Mark 8 Spitfire, and they put a pin badge in it. The price point of that Spitfire is a Series 4 kit, I think. Is it Series 3 or Series 4? But we have
a direct comparison, though, Moz, already. We have the original Mark 9 and the Mark 8 Spitfire in 24th, which retail for $99.99. And then you have this one, which is $120. So you can already see that there has been a change. Now, some of that is obviously going to come from the 3D, the printed resin and the masks, etc. But there's also going to be the cost of the glass. There's going to be the cost of the associated marketing material that would have been built into that cost.
Yeah.
So we've got a direct. There's the £20 difference. Now we can argue how much the proportion will be the additional bits you get in the kit.
Yeah.
But there's heavy marketing. There's heavy external marketing, such as pin badge and glasses that have gone on, that have been commissioned. And let's say the cost had been bought by the brewery. The brewery said, right, that's fine. We'll make up the difference in cost. That's okay. But then it's now a perceived issue within the community where people have gone, well, Airfix have put the price up because they put gimmicks in. Though it's cost no extra money to Airfix, it's cost now more money to the consumer. And that's why you get the very split opinion. And I sit on the side of, give me the base product. That's what I'm buying it for. Generally not for the gimmicks, unless it is a true special edition for something. So the only thing I would say is anniversaries. And those
that one there with the cost, I think that the price of the Spitfire is $99.97, and basically you've paid that £20 for the resin and the masking set. I think the pin badge and the pint glass, that would have come out of marketing. And I think the good thing about that pint glass, which people forget that when the original 24th scale Spitfire was released, the 1/24th Mark 9 was released, it came with a poster, and everyone got that poster.
Yeah.
But a poster cost is considerably less than a glass.
Pardon?
A poster cost will be significantly less than a glass.
No, mate, because it costs more to ship with a poster than it does with a pint glass.
Really?
Yeah, that poster, if you put that poster up, because it wasn't the same size, you basically were putting the poster in a box, in a triangular box. then putting that box and the triangular box in another box.
But was that a limited release directly from Airfix themselves? Because I don't ever remember having those from the trade side.
What, the posters?
Yeah, the posters were never a trade thing. I think they must have been an Airfix Direct only.
Or was that an Airfix Direct one, was it?
Quite possibly, because we never had them in the trade.
But then this next time, the pint glass was put in the box.
Yeah, so this time, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. The pint glass this time is part of every kit. So that cost has been encompassed. Whereas the poster generally, that's a cost consumed by Airfix because they're doing it directly. There will still be a little bit added per kit, but not to the extent of the pint glass, which is now being sold on that. Because I can't believe it's costing 20 quid, give or take. Obviously, there'll be profit margins in that for resin and a mask. Because you can probably you'd probably get an associated resin piece for maybe $4.99 retail from Edward, ResKit, whoever, and then your decal, your mask set is probably going to cost, because it's a fairly basic one, it's going to cost no more than between $2.99 and maybe $4.99.
Yeah.
So there's a sort of a £10 miss at retail, which roughly missing in that cost. That's all.
Right, but let's say yeah. I don't know. It's a very difficult discussion, this, in the sense of, what do people want? And if you say people want cheaper kits, I think
Moss, I think people are dealing with great respect to them, an awful lot of unknowns here.
Yeah.
We don't know what the budget for the initial Spitfire was, in terms of what margin they wanted to make. We don't know what the extended budget for the, call it anniversary kit is. We don't know what the cost of those additional merchandising components were. The only thing that we can really say with any degree of certainty is that at the beginning of each before the beginning of each financial year, the directors of the company undertake an assessment of their budget for the next year. In other words, how many kits they want to sell, which translates into a top line, turnover number, and what the cost of the sales are going to be, and then what the cost of the marketing is going to be, amongst many, many other things. Everything that falls into marketing is budgeted for at the beginning of the year, so before anything is ever launched. So this is all very carefully planned by these people. It's not done, by somebody sticking a finger in the air and saying, "Oh no, we'll do that next week." They know what they're going to do a long way in advance, and it's also about perceived value.
Yeah.
So a glass and a pin badge and these things are worth an awful lot to some people. Yeah. They're not to you, Ben, and great respect to you. You take a very pragmatic view on these things, and I think that's perfectly fair. That you want a kit because you want to assemble a kit. Fantastic. That's absolutely valid. But Airfix make kits for you. Yeah. And then there's the gentleman or the lady who wants to buy a kit with a couple of extra little squib knockets in it because they like squib knockets, and Airfix have budgeted for them as well. And to some extent, actually, to move it on a bit, they're budgeting with those little squib knockets for the collectors who want to pay lots of money for them years down the line, because the Airfix name will keep coming up. And I think that's a nice thing as well.
Yeah.
Just go on, carry on.
You come on, just say your bit, and then I'm going to just reply to Travis Thompson. Actually,
no, I was just going to really wind it up, really, because I've said a lot in the last few minutes. And
that's fine. You carry on.
I expect you're all heartily sick of me by now. So
you crack on. No. See, Travis Thompson makes it's a perfect point. I would prefer the bonus stuff to relate it to the kit. Bonus decal sheet or the mask resin. I already have glasses in the house and the coin we've got in 10 minutes. But there's the rub already. Say for instance for a decal sheet. Now, I think people, when you buy a decal sheet, say an aftermarket one, you're looking between £7 to £12, but they have plenty of markings on there. All right. When you got likes of Airfix, they'll give you between 2 and 4, maybe 5 schemes, you're only going to need one anyway. You're only going to ever use one of them. The decal sheets aren't cheap to make. They certainly aren't cheap to prepare and research, because I think a lot of money goes into researching the scheme, making sure that they're getting right. You know, you've got to pay a designer like Clint or Jonathan Mock to design those decal sheets to the specifications. So there's cost in that. And the resin, again, becomes the choice. If there is resin in there, the modeler may, I don't like resin, I'm not going to use it. But then, you know, the likes of somebody else, you said there that, you know, you have glasses in the house. I bet you use those glasses quite a lot, because I've got about 4 or 5 of those pint glasses. And if I grab a drink, you know, if I grab a can, you know, either, you know, one of those glasses is, I've got about 25 glasses, pint glasses in my little cupboard there. There's a 1 in 5 chance the one I pick up is going to be an Airfix one. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I agree with Travis on this from the point of view of a sales. If you want to do sale, if you want me to buy your product more, what do you want to put in it to draw me in? It would be more like this, because, okay, at retail, it costs £7 to buy your decal set, but to trade, it's going to be £2 to £3 to produce, if that. So it's a minimal cost.
I don't think it's that. You know, decal sheets are, you know, the size of the 24.
They are, but they're still going to be making a minimum of a third on it, even with the VAT thrown on.
Yeah.
But like the fact that if you want me to buy the kit, I would rather have those. Now, if you're doing general marketing, i.e. a Father's Day, so take that Spitfire they've just done. That's the perfect Father's Day present, Christmas present, those general sort of people who want to buy them for gifts. If they do that within their gift range and they have a specific gift range, brilliant, great idea. But for the modeler who wants a special edition, anniversary edition, that's why for so many years, special boxings had bits modelers wanted. So Edward, when they do their, is it King packs? I can't remember what they're called. Royal packs. They normally have the book, they have the photo. They are the top of the line. They're a gift in itself, but they're a modeler's gift. They're very
expensive.
They are though, but they're a modeler's gift, and they are. But people are drawn in by them. It's like there's a B-24 set that Edward do, which is a Coastal Command version, but it's got a book, it's got everything. It's got everything I would want as a modeler, because I could go buy that Hasikawa kit on its own.
Right, just in the sky, Ben. It's righteous in the sky.
That's the one.
Yeah.
See, that's what I would say is the difference in gimmick. What's a gimmick? Well, maybe a coin, maybe a glass. And yeah, Edward's done glasses, and they've done metal from aircraft or whatever in some of their boxing. But if you want to do something like that, I do kind of like the idea of what Edward does, in the fact that they'll give you the Royal Edition, and you get 2 kits in the box, and you get 20 flipping marking options, and you get aftermarket. So everything that's in the box can be used for the project that's in the box. It's not a trinket that can be put on the shelf or used, or, you know, so it's, you know, it's really an apples and oranges type thing. Whichever way the kit manufacturer decides to go, do they want to, I've seen 2 people drop off. I don't know, it's my internet.
Right, no, it's right.
Okay. So,
not at all, Jim. No.
Okay.
I'm taking care of stuff. It's okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that was that's my thing. Do gimmicky things appeal to me? No, I'm getting the kit because I want the kit. Hey, bonus if there's more stuff in it that I might want. And then like when you buy the Royal Class one and you get 20 markings. Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, here's the kit over here with no decals, no instructions, no nothing but the sprues, so you can bang out another one and use one of those other options that you get. You know, so I kind of like the way they go with theirs. But to your point, Maz, there's a lot of guys like you over there that, man, now it's another hobby within a hobby. Hey, I've got all 9 coins and I've got them in a box, and because unfortunately I think a lot of modelers are kind of pseudo collectors too. You know, so it's just another thing to collect. And so, well, it's a little gimmicky, but it's all in good fun. I mean,
that's what I mean. It's not hurting anyone. And that's the thing. It's like, it's going back to the coins. I look at it as more of a collectible thing. But if you really want to punch in the, really want to punch this out there, they do a limited edition 500 coins, and everyone goes. I think there's only one coin that never quite made it out. When there was only 250 of them, and I think if Dale's on, if he's watching, he can.
The only thing I will say though, there have been quite a few
one
coins
coin
that
they
have been
didn't
sold
sell out
separately.
of was the club members one, which had 250, and it was just for the club members. And in the end, they didn't sell it, but then they offered it out to other people, and then they were gone. So, and if you look on eBay, those coins go for between 20 and 30 quid on some of them because people want them.
Yeah, but they've also have sold a lot of the coins separately, apart from the kits. So
Yes.
I wouldn't say they've been popular, but if you are producing 500 to 250 coins, you'd expect them to sell out. You wouldn't have to tender them separately to the kit. The fact that they're selling them separately to the kit afterwards tells me that there's a good uptake, but it's not an uptake.
They never sold them
if you
separate to the kit. Which one did
they have? Because
sell?
I could have bought the Gannet one. There was the Sea King one. I could have bought. There's about 3 or 4 different ones that I saw about 3 months ago. I could buy all of the separate ones.
Or the Gannet ones?
Yes, I could buy the Gannet separately. I'm pretty certain the Sea King was one of them.
No.
And what was the other kit they did?
No,
there was obviously the Airfix Club one as well. The twin.
The Airfix Club one was the one that they didn't sell, but the rest of them they sold with the kits. Because remember, there's 2 options. There is 2 options, isn't there? When they do that, you can buy one with the kit, and then you can buy it without the coin, can't you, or something?
No, but they were. But the thing was, so like for example here, they were selling the 85th anniversary one separately. The D-Day coin, that was it. D-Day coin separately. They were selling the club coins separately.
They weren't with
separately.
Kits.
No, separately from the kit. I could buy them for £15 a piece.
No, those coins were never put with kits.
They were.
Which one?
So the Buccaneer was. The Airfix Club kit was. The D-Day one was, I'm pretty certain.
No, the D-Day wasn't. That was saying it was $14.99, that was.
Yeah, you've got the
D-Day one was put if you brought kits over a certain...
If you bought kits over a certain price.
That's right,
on the Airfix site.
The Hawker Hunter one, for example.
Yeah.
That was with the Hawker Hunter. And then the Gannet one. And the F-86, which was the other one they had on.
Well, you could buy that one separately, could you?
You could buy these all separately, and they're still listed on... They're just set out of stock now, but you could buy them all as separate ones, for example.
Well, I was under the impression they'd all sold out with the kits. There was only 500 of them, unless they were the 1,000 ones. But all the 500, there's normally about 500, and those always sell out.
Yeah, but okay, then it's a bit like, for example, there was...
I'm just
where is it? Now. Not the Dam Busters one, but there was, there's quite a few there that shows that there is a market, because clearly they've sold a bulk of them, but they've got leftover stock.
Yeah, the Gannet one was 500. The VE Day one was 1,000. Because that's my pride and joy, because that one's 002 on that one. I was quite happy with that. But I got 002. I know the Airfix, this one here, the 80, that was for sale anyway.
That was a general sale.
One. There was the I'm sure that the F-86, they would have club on the back, wouldn't they? So if it's a club one, it has Airfix Club on the back.
No, that was a standard release with.
That's 250 on that one. That's got Airfix Club on the back.
Yeah, so that's available for general sale.
How general sale? And then you had the limited edition D-Day one, which was for club members. So that way you could buy that separate. You could be, you buy it separate. It wasn't income of the kit. The Operation Overlord, that was one that they gave. I think was one that they gave out with. I think that's one they gave out. I think the Operation Overlord one was that you bought that one. So you had to do something to get that one, didn't you? You had to buy so many kits for that one. But yeah, you know, oh yeah, the limited edition Gloucester Meteor one, that was a club one as well. That's got Airfix Club on the back of that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the rest of them have got Airfix. But yeah, as I said, I thought the Buccaneer sold out. I'm sure I thought the Buccaneer sold out because I've got the 1,000. Some of them are 1,000, some of them are 500, some of them are 250. So if they went for the 1,000 and they didn't sell out, it just shows you that they got their fill with the 500 and there was a few left over. So, but yeah, as I say, I got the impression that they are popular, and if you didn't want to buy it with the coin, you just go and buy it from, you know, your reputable scale model shop without it, and probably get it cheaper, the kit cheaper. So, yeah, is it a gimmick? I collect them, you know, and there's a lot of people out there who do. So, I'll just look at the comments here. What was it? Coincidentally, that's right. See that? Scroll down a little bit. They do the same thing at holidays. They package your product with a goodie and add a subtle bit into the price, and it works. You can't say that, John, on the chat. You'd have to put it in the live chat, mate.
No, it's all right. I get busy listening to the conversation.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, I know I'm in stream.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying listening to people as well. And so as I'm sitting here listening, I'll have a thought and I'll just put it into chat.
You could do semaphore, John.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a little whistle or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Comment, don't start me on the Airfix tea bags. Again, it was a collaboration with a company that that they did coffee and tea with. You know, again, it's you know, sometimes I put that down as merchandise, to be honest. If you want to buy Airfix merchandise, then that's what you do, isn't it? You know,
I think it is, but I think it's also some people a bit, obviously, like Graham here, see it is diverting the attention of what the brand should be doing. It's a bit like, stop looking elsewhere, just focus on the quality of what you're doing. And
yeah, but if they're making money from it, then you can't say nothing, can you?
You can, but then, for example, if I was playing devil's advocate, I go, this is great, you're doing all this marketing, but focus on your quality control issues. If I really wanted to put the knife in and be really harsh on the marketing,
yeah, that's a good shout.
Stop avoiding that. Get your quality control correct.
Yeah,
that's sort of, I think, very on the extreme end that some people are looking at. It's like, once you've got your ducks in a row at that point, by all means do your marketing and focus on all these brilliant other avenues, but get your base product right. I think that's what a lot of people think.
Comment.
It's interesting though, isn't it, that despite what people say, Airfix have done their marketing, and we're here talking about Airfix right now.
Yeah. The market. I think Airfix is marketing out of all the brands that are under the Hornby Hobbies umbrella. I think Airfix have got it spot on. I
mean, in fairness, it's a very hard job because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Go on then, Jim, jump in.
Here's a hell of a marketing idea. You ready for this one? This is a real novel idea. How about we release kits that modelers want to generate a model building? What a concept!
Like the Jaguar, perhaps.
Yeah. Do you know what, Jim? This is coming from an American.
What's that?
And this is coming from an American who's struggling to get the kits he wants because they haven't got a manufacturer over there.
I've got so many kits. I don't need any more kits. Yeah. But that being said, so far I haven't struggled to get anything. But no, seriously.
Yeah. Airfix,
I think, could do more for their brand, coming out with more of the models that you guys want. I've been saying it for the Jaguar, perfect. You're now you're getting in there. Yes. Where in the hell is a tornado? I'd love a tornado, but Wessex, where's the 5? I mean, in 48th, not 72nd. I mean, yes, there's a lot of 72nd scale guys out there, but do them at both. I mean, you want to generate interest in your brand, put out, and now that Airfix is putting out good quality models, now let's start doing the subjects that are hugely popular. Jaguars, Wessex Tornadoes, that will do more for the Airfix's brand than putting a coin or a glass or anything, I think. Sorry,
I take you up on that, Jim, but you've got to remember that Airfix is a very small team.
Oh yeah,
there's 3 designers.
Yeah.
Okay,
they have overlords they have to answer to. I get it.
Yeah, but also they have minimum of 45 releases a year, 45 to 50 releases. Understandably, yes, there's reboxing, which involves new decal schemes, so researching new decal schemes. Adam Toomby must be doing a picture a week at the minute. You know what I mean? For the box art, you've got all that, and I believe that Airfix choose their horses wisely. If there is a decent tornado on the market,
there isn't.
There isn't.
Absolutely not.
Certainly not in 48.
Not in 176. Yeah. You know,
here's what I'm talking about king scale 48.
Yeah. So like the Phantom. See, I think also that they've got a plan. So bear with me on this, because I was talking about this the other night. Let's take the Phantom, for instance. The 172nd scale Phantom. They put it out there. They judge on how well it sells and how well they get out of it. And then there's a time limit and they think, right, we're going to do the 148. And I'll give you a couple of prime examples, okay?
It's only nearly been 10 years.
The Sea King. No, the Phantom was 2017. No, that was Sea King, wasn't it?
No, Sea King's like 2014.
Are you sure the Phantom? I thought Time Phantom 2019.
Yeah. And I'm just also going to play devil's advocate with your small team, Moz. If they're a small team, why are they wasting resource doing all these lovely marketing exercises and not focusing on their core product?
They're not. They've got a marketing team. They've got a marketing team. They've got a design team. Leave them alone. They've got a research team now, actually, because everyone complains about some of this being right, this being wrong. They got this right, they got that wrong. They've got a marketing team now. They've got a research team. So
do the research team talk to the marketing team, or are they two separate people?
Separate people, isn't it? Dale's head of brand.
No, they don't talk to each other, because it's only in some of their marketing it's very clear at times.
I think you've got to realise that, and this is I'm going to be honest here. Not all marketers are scale modelers. And I think this is where the problem lies, is that when you've got marketing, right, and you've got somebody who knows how to market, like Brooke, for instance, fabulous marketer's gone on to bigger and better things, very good at marketing, but she knew very little about military and scale modeling. She had to learn and embrace all that. And you find that a lot of times with these companies, I could pick out a lot with certain brands. You see that their social marketing is excellent, but they really haven't got a clue about the product.
But what does that then say about brand image? If you are meant to be, because let's be honest, modeling is a very, very niche subject, niche hobby. But those who know, if you're going to build a model of something, you want companies known for their accuracy, for how good they are, for what they get right. And if their marketing team, because again, where do most of the famous examples of slip-ups have come from for Airfix or Horby? Their marketing team, which is normally with people who don't know what subject they're doing. Yeah. A classic example is, like Julian mentioned in the comments earlier, their VE Day coin. They said HMS Belfast is on this coin. It wasn't. It was a King George V. Yeah, which is fine. It's quite funny, but it just comes to the brand image of going, yeah, Airfix are really, really great at their marketing ideas. They are really out there, and then they're completely steps ahead of Revel and other brands, in what they do in outreach. But when it comes to subject knowledge, their marketing team, the general gist is completely bloody clueless. And then that leads on to if their marketing team's not the great, is their research team up to scratch? Because there might be errors, etc. Doubt starts to creep in, and then you get this perceived notion that is Airfix actually that bothered what people say? And then you get Jim, for example, who's now saying, "Oh well, they don't do necessarily models that people want." So it all starts to creep in, and that all stems from very little things that gather pace. And I think the marketing team need to be on it.
Okay, just one thing. Oh, go on. Do you want to jump in? Want to jump in?
No, I was just laughing because I remember that. Yeah.
Go on, Jim. Do you want to jump in on that?
Just real quick. I guess my main point being is, there's so much that, and I understand that it's a niche hobby. It's everything about what we're talking about is very niche. They have a small team. I get all that, but the original thing was marketing and gimmicks, and I think I'd be more happy with a company that said, hey, you know what, we're not going to do gimmicks, we're not going to do all this stuff, we're going to try to concentrate on getting out more kits, especially now that we've proven we can put out a quality product from yesteryear, and Airfix is on their way. They have a track record now of 3 or 4 decent releases. So let's build upon that. I'd much rather see a 48 scale Tornado in all the different varieties from G1 to 4 and the long nose versions. And hey, let's put out a Spay engine Phantom for the British types, and concentrate more on the British subjects. Save for the F8 F Bearcat. Yes, we all know we need a new one in 48, and that needs to be done. But thank you. But that and I probably know it, but to me it's about what a model company puts out. It's not about whatever, and not just Airfix. This goes for other model manufacturers that do this too. I don't care about it. You're not selling me a kit. Give me more product, give me more options as a consumer with variety kits you're coming out with, and I know they're limited, and I know it's a small budget and a small team, but I just classic iconic British aircraft, a classic iconic British brand should marry up together and do those two things. Make the Spay Phantoms, make the Tornadoes, you've done the Lightning. The Lightning's over 30 years old now. Hey, now that you can do really, really good kits, maybe let's revisit the Lightning. Maybe let's redo it again. There's just so much that they could do.
I kind of get that. Going back to this thing about the Phantom. So 2017. The last time they released it with new decals was 2023 in the 72nd scale. So 6 years ago, so 2017, that's 8 years ago. For me, that then screams that there's going to be a Phantom in 148 coming out soon. And if you look at the patterns they've done, for instance, the Sea King, 2018, and then in 2020 in 72nd, then in 2025.
I swear it was 2014. I swear it's much earlier.
Can't be that.
I can confirm that. Hold on a minute. I've got a Seeking.
I'm almost certain.
James is going to go
2014, 2013. I'd bet my house on it nearly.
Was it that long ago?
I'm certain it was. Because this is the thing, like you say, it'd be nice if they did it, a 4-year gap or a 2-year gap. But like you see with the Phantom, it will be an 8-year gap currently, possibly 10 years.
2015 it was.
Yeah.
And then they released it in 10 years then, 10 years. But I'm just saying that there's this, they do get round to it.
They do, but it's 10 years later. But how many of the modeling population have died by that point?
But there's so many subjects they want to do. There's other people. You're there screaming about what is. And I say, I don't know. I'm convinced there's a Phantom.
2016 was I've got here.
2016. I think it was something around there. 2016.
Yeah.
And then 8 years later. That's what I thought it was 8 years later.
Yeah. The only thing I will say is that yes, people scream about what they want. Yeah, there's different people, but stuff like that, like with the Buccaneer always had strong sales, even the original version, well after it ever went out of production. It's the same with the Lightning kit. It's the same, for example, like with the Sea Vixen. That I don't think has been re-released since 2011, and that's that's well due just a tool, a rerun of the tooling.
That is rare retentive.
That's rare retentive. When it sells, it always sells for the best part 80-90 quid, easy.
Yeah.
So there's certain surefire sellers, and okay, you've got some stuff, but then they come out with some more questionable things. Like for example, did they need to really come out with another F86 Sabre in 48 for? Could that as sort of, instead of doing a run of that, you then put the money into something else?
So there you go. You just said it's Sea Vixen. It's hard as henties to find, and they re-release it. Well, why re-release an old kit? Hey, let's tool a new one, and then everybody that has Sea Vixens is going to want the new one.
The Sea Vixen's 2011, and it's a pretty good tooling.
Right, but or to the Lightning again, redo it.
But they know their market. Okay, we don't fucking know. So, for instance, when I said to Dale,
do they though?
Yes, I think they do. So that's hatred. They will release something they don't think they're going to get a return on. That's the idea. I think that's what the general thing. So, for instance, that HMS Trafalgar submarine. This gives you a prime example. It was released in 2009, right? They then released it again in 2010 as a model set or gift set with paints, glue, and a brush. But they had so many, they just never sold. So they're not going to re-release it again.
Well, it's a submarine. Who does submarines?
I know, but I'm just saying, if you know.
Sorry, Ben.
So I'm just giving you examples of what I'm only seeing what you're seeing.
But that's fine though. But the thing is with again, this might come onto the marketing, but it's like the fact that in recent years there's been more and more, certainly, and again from the trade side you saw this, there was more and more discounting of where clearly they'd done subjects which weren't selling out. They were having to be discounted and thrown out cheap. And this also ties into the marketing. Say with the Black Buck Vulcan, what a disaster that was.
Was it though? I think it was rage bait. I think it was pure and simple rage bait.
So you're telling me that they definitely went and did the tooling exactly like that to make the mistake.
No, they made a mistake. They made a genuine mistake, right? But if you
big mistake to make.
But if you speak to people, most wouldn't have done that scheme. They would have done the other scheme. It was a flash in the pan. And do you know what? It was such an easy fix. It was blown way out of fucking proportion.
It was, but again, it comes to the point of Airfix when it comes to their marketing and everything needs to be actually accurate. It highlights again silly little mistakes creeping in. So, but that's the trend. It's silly little mistakes.
You're telling me that during COVID, when they were designing that tooling and everything or whatever.
Yeah, because there was a Brit modeler there was a Brit modeler thread exactly in 2019 with this. So I don't buy the bollocks, excuse my French, that they had no access. And further to that, you could find high quality email pictures where it was clearly on a trolley.
Right.
Someone just glanced at it.
That was after the fact. During the time they were doing it.
But it was available, to do. But the information's there on the internet.
But what I'm trying to get is that most people would not have used that scheme. They would have done the other scheme.
Yeah, but Moz, if you are a manufacturer who is trying to be at the top of their game and giving the imagery that you are at the pinnacle of the hobby, and then you make a cock up like that, it's not great. That'd be like Tammy.
I think you.
There's an old with the Porsche turret.
There is an old aphorism.
Sorry, James, I didn't hear that. Sorry, what will you say again, James?
It's like Tamiya's faux pas where they supplied a King Tiger with a Porsche turret.
Yeah.
Markings for the ones with the Henschel turret.
That's what I mean. But no, the problem I have with all the, I'm going to say it, the hate towards Airfix is always 4 or 5 times.
But how many times in recent years can you say Tamiya has messed up compared to Airfix? Because I'm sure at Airfix we could list marketing, this, that, etc. Whereas Tamiya, it may only be like, for example,
if I could suggest that actually it doesn't matter, because in some sense or another, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Once again,
I wouldn't ask Angela Rayner that.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's an entirely different thing, of course, and it's a nice answer, you know, but there's no such thing as bad publicity, because here we are talking about an error that Airfix made, and I would suspect they sold quite a number of those kits despite that error.
They did.
And yet it was still done, and people who bought those kits and then discovered this error probably thought to themselves, well, I'm a modeler, I'll get the knives and the saws out and a bit of filler, and we'll have ourselves a nice looking little kit.
Straight away.
What confidence does that put it in the brand that you know they're going to deliver accurately on time? Because at the minute there is a concoction of
absolute bollocks. I tell you why it's bollocks. When that Vulcan came out, it was glorified. We all had to go with it. It's a fantastic kit. All they did, they released another sprue without the design flaw with the door and the what they call it again?
A major, considering they're designing one additional part, that's a major cock up.
I think the way I see it is that everybody loves to give Airfix hate. You know, like people were saying the other week was,
I think they give them fair criticism, because simply the fact is they spend all this extra time marketing, etc., but they're getting the bare basics wrong. Like, you know, quality control, kits being accurate, errors in instructions.
The quality control.
Have you seen the average trumpeter kit, Ben?
Yeah,
but Trumpeter aren't. But the difference is with Trumpeter.
Go on, then.
Trumpeter are not going out their way trying to tell everyone that they're number one in the market. They're not trying to do that.
But they want to sell kits. And
they do want to sell kits, but they're not. But they're not spending all their time marketing. They're not spending all their time. They're not, you know, they're not quietly getting on with it. Yeah, Airfix, you know, they're not doing that. They're going, look at this. We've got coins. We've got this. We've got that. It's like, fix your base product first. Get that consistent. Get the quality control issues that are plaguing with you, because there's only so much marketing you can do to try and stop that narrative. Yeah.
Would you agree that Airfix perhaps get 1% of their output wrong?
It's blown up.
It's more than 1%. I'd say there is errors in a lot of their marketing. Generally,
what percentage?
No, talking about marketing here.
What would you say in terms of percentage? Is it 2% of what they get wrong? Is it 2%?
What are we talking production now, or are we talking?
You know, in terms of them as a company, do they get?
I'd probably say they get about 10% wrong.
Well, okay, then look at it this way. That means they get 90% of it right.
Right.
Yeah, that 90% of what they do is right. But
in a world of where 10% in a company getting it wrong is still very bad.
Well,
I don't think you know, when it like the Stalwart, when people come up to me and they say to me, "Oh, I love what you did with that store. Is it model shows? It as bad as what people make out, is it, Moz?" No, it fucking in, because people for some reason I get quite passionate about this. There are people who just want to hate on Airfix and they drive them to the ground. Whatever they do, it ain't fucking right. The other day, somebody was saying about the Wessex. The first comment on the video about the Wessex, "Oh, it's the wrong scale." You know, and this is the problem. When Tamiya brought out that 135th tank, the M36, okay?
M36.
No one really complained about it. The only real complaint was, "Oh, it only came with one figure." You know, it's like, oh,
yeah, but was there anything wrong with the production? Was there anything wrong with the research? Was there anything wrong with the marketing?
But I'm only one person. There could be other people out there who aren't on YouTube who say, this.
Yeah, but with the M36, for example, obviously there was criticism regarding what figures you got, so that's a value for money element. But was there anything wrong with the tool? Was there quality issues? Was there marketing issues? No.
Because there is no marketing from, but there is no marketing issues.
But then, for example, who has a better brand reputation generally, Tamiya or Airfix? It's generally Tamiya. How much marketing do they need to do? They don't, because they let the kits talk for themselves. Like Jim said,
most of the problems that we have with people sneering on Airfix is the fact that they had a bad spell in the 2000s and people haven't forgiven them for it. And then, you know, and I really believe from the bottom of my heart that if people just step back and see how far Airfix have come on, then you wouldn't have the naysayers who the first thing they hear of like a short shot on a certain kit, and it's like, oh,
yeah, but they're a major manufacturer, Moz. It shouldn't be happening.
It does happen though. It will happen.
But it shouldn't. Just because it does doesn't mean it's right. If they are trying to buy,
but the thing is, so
but Moz, these are business decisions for it not to be in house. That's their choice as a business and how they choose to divide their cake. But then they cannot start pleading, going, "Oh well, we're sorry about this." You know, it's a business decision for them to produce, and they have quality control issues. They have to live with the criticism. I'm sorry, can't protect them from that. It's a business choice to produce.
Where's the 10% mistakes on this tooling? It only
how many, for example, with all the production, but how many things have, for example, in recent years, have they had issues with quality control? On how many kits have there been reports of issues in their quality control? A good proportion of them.
Go on, tell me which ones.
You've
about the Stalwart. You've
got the Stalwart.
Right? Yeah.
You've had short shot on the B24s on some of the props and that. Yeah. You've had, which is obviously the latest generation, not the first edition. I'm talking about the latest second edition that they've recently done. I think it was the Desert Scheme, which was the second. You've had issues I had with, what was it? The F-35, the starter sets. So I've had issue with the F-35, whereby I had completely warped tail planes and some that didn't even, on the bottom right, didn't actually have one. The Eurofighter, I know there's been issues.
Rudder on the Seafire or Sea Fury.
Sea Fury rudder disappearing. So you've got. So it's not necessarily a whole production run is an issue, but it's the amount of there has been more releases that have had an issue with some form of quality control than not at all.
But so what I'll say is, and I think there's a line there that Airfix has since got over, you know, because you get into the newer within the past 2, 3, 4 years, you know, I think they've done much better. I think the crux of, you know, Zinzan was saying about, well, what percentage, and you can make numbers say anything you want, you know, 90% is good. Okay. But you're paying, or we're all paying a lot of money and maybe more money for kits. You kind of expect, or the consumer is expecting more bang for their buck now. You can't really afford to have short shots. You can't afford to have optical illusions make, errors in your tooling, like I'm suspecting it's the pylon that's a gear door on the Vulcan. I think that's what you guys are talking
well, it was just a gear door that was
wrong. But now, while that is such, yes, it's an easy fix, and modelers fix things every day, and there's other kits that have issues. But I think the thing that makes that error so much more bigger is the fact that everybody now knows the picture that they took and based their toolings on and just ran with it. Okay. And it kind of is like, it's a bigger mistake than it needs to be.
Yeah.
You know, and that just makes it perception as reality, right? It's not a big deal. But it's like, oh my God, could they not see that's a gear door, not a pylon? You know, what's wrong with them? And then the ball gets rolling and then starts going downhill and gains momentum. And then, you know, I don't think it's a fact of everybody hating on a company or Airfix. I think it really is just about, hey, wow, they really screwed the pooch on that. And it's almost like a point and laugh. Oh, look, their fly's open, you know? And I don't think it's a hating thing. It's just it was such an obvious mess up. And
I'm sorry, it's just if you want to be the top dog, if you want to act like the top dog, be prepared to take the criticism. Yeah. But then don't try and hide from it, because if you want to be the top dog, if you want to be held to such a high standard, You deliver the high standard. You don't deliver that high standard, you're going to get criticised. You could go, Airfix can go back to the middle of the road and be back to sort of the mid-tier company that they were in the 2000s. And then people wouldn't bat an eyelid because then they'd be comparing them to the likes of maybe ICM, Mr. Craft, whatever. But the fact they want to be a premier brand held up to the top brands means that you've got to get everything right. You've got to have your marketing on point. You've got to have, and they're basic little mistakes that shouldn't creep in.
Well, I just want to say about what marketing have they got wrong?
Like I said, the coins, they couldn't market the coin right, had the wrong thing on it. Yeah. When they've come with their branding a lot of the time with the, there's just botched branding. It's like they put videos out, for example, that have had wrong details in. Yeah. It's get your marketing team to know their stuff. Employ someone or have at least some senior manager of some form check the stuff over who knows their stuff. Because it's all to do with image.
I think it's.
But I just think there's such a small team, I think. But
you can't say they have a small team. You can't say they have a small team, but then they're wasting all this effort.
Yeah.
It's. I think the small team question is a good one. It's a fair point. And having done, and I don't want to try and argue from authority here because I have none. But I've spent a few years now researching historic aircraft to write articles about them. It's very difficult to get that right all the time. And I often find myself correcting things that I've previously written because they turned out to be nonsense. And people who are in the know have corrected me as well. I think that it's a horribly difficult task producing historic aircraft and getting it right all the time. And my guess is that, if I'm absolutely truthful with you, Airfix have got some of the technicalities of their kits wrong, but they've got the very greatest majority of it right. And there's no arguing that, I don't think, quite honestly. And they have a world full of satisfied people who you don't hear from, and it's only one's sensitivity to negative information that means that you do hear from the people who have negative things to say. The news, for example, is a non-random selection of the worst things that happened in the world. If you mend stuff for a living, which I did with washing machines years and years and years ago, not one of my customers ever walked up to me and said, I bought that washing machine 9 years ago and it's never once gone wrong, They don't do that.
Right,
what
correct.
they do say is, you mended this 3 years ago and it's gone wrong again.
Yeah.
This is human nature.
People, they just want to complain. They
don't
come. So if you go to like Yelp or, these online review places, right? Most people, they have a positive experience. They can't be bothered. They're like, okay, I got what I paid for.
Yeah.
Have a negative experience, I'm going to dig up these bones and burn them. They go online and they have a rant or whatever. And so, if you've got places that have, 4.5 rating, it's a miracle, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't mind when if somebody puts the foot in it, right? Sometimes because it's a human process. Yeah, it's my 2 cents.
Yeah,
so I'm just gonna. Where's that comment gone? I just put up Stuart Carrier. The problem is that Airfix is a sacred cow, and they have loads of shills out there trying to deflect the criticism. If Airfix were treated like other manufacturers, then they would have to sort it.
Let's answer that, shall we?
Yeah.
Airfix, their current catalogue have 300 products.
Yeah.
I've heard mention of possibly 2, possibly 3 products. That's 0.4%. So think about that for a minute, if you'd like.
Like I said, they release between 45 and 55 kits, subset of kits every single year. The only other brand I know that can beat that is Revell. And I just think that when it comes to it, if you talk to an Australian, they want the kits. They struggle to get hold of the kits, And you'll never hear an Australian complain that the Vulcan was wrong. In fact, they're loving the fact they've actually got, is it Grey Nurse, the Spitfire scheme? Was an Australian scheme, wasn't it?
Grey
They
Nurse.
love it. I had an Australian contact me and say, can you send me 10 Spitfires over? They were that desperate to get hold of those Grey Nurses. But in this country, but to say we're shills, I think that's a bit harsh. There are those who who the cup's half empty or the cup's half full. And as I said, I'm in the process of the Albion 3-point fueler is on my list to build.
But I'll ask you this question then, Moz. Do you think it's acceptable the amount of issues that they have with kits with their quality control? Airfix? Or do you think if they don't improve it, that's a major issue with the brand for their image? If they don't improve it, if it stays as it is or gets worse, is that going to be a brand image problem, or is it sort of come see, come so, such as life?
I'm going to lay this out. When I talk to people about model kits, the first thing they say is to me, do you know what? Revell have the best customer service. And I say, why? Oh, I had a kit that came to me and it was missing a part or missing a decal sheet. And do you know what? They send that over to me to Germany. Hornby have the same customer service. If you have a problem with your kit, you give them the number and you tell them this is missing. Obviously, if you started building the kit, it's your own fault. Well, if you've got the kit there and you've got a part missing, click a picture, send it. They'll send it to you free of charge. They've done that from Delt One. And Revell are the same. They will do it if you ring them up and you email them and say, I've got. And I wonder to myself, why do people always say that Revell have the best customer service? Because they've had to use them for a problem with a kit.
Yeah. Can I just say something, Moss?
Yeah.
I have never used Revell for a problem with a kit. I have only ever used Revell for a problem of my doing, and they have been absolutely A1, 100%. And now I will shut up.
And going back to the point, they have great customer service. No one denies that. But do you think it's acceptable that they have that amount of failure rate and that amount of issues with their tooling through quality issues? So not through the tooling of the design, because no one has issue with that. It's got significantly better. In fact, it's probably on par with Tamiya in a lot of places at times. But their production and their quality, do you think that is acceptable of a brand of that size to have?
Are you talking about Revell or Airfix?
Airfix. Do you think it's acceptable that they have that level of issues across multiple kits, not whole batches, because they're not having the whole tooling's not a write-off, but the fact that it can be so inconsistent batch to batch? Is that acceptable for a brand of that size?
In my opinion, I've got a Jaguar. It's perfect. I've built the Gannet. It's perfect. I've built the Sea King. It's perfect. I've got an Anson. It's perfect. I've got a B24. It's got shit wheels. I've got a Walrus. It's perfect. I've got a Blenheim. It's perfect.
So it's down to put. So is it down more to pot luck then, in some extent?
I don't think it is pot. I just think that the only person who can answer the question really is Dale. Do you have lots of returns? Yeah. Do you have lots of issues? And
it would be interesting just to know the numbers to quantify it. Not that we never get them.
I think a lot of it is way blown out proportion. I understand if there's a design issue in a tooling, like the Stalwart, I've seen the test shots, and there's no issue. They don't get me wrong. On the back of the what are they called? The tail and everything on that Stolly, there are ridges in it, but it's sinkage marks on there, but the rest of it is perfect. So when they said let's get that tooling, let's see the test shots, perfect, we'll run with that. Then for some reason at manufacture there was this issue with some of the short shot, and yes, some of it has, but I know that they're going to be re-looking at that tooling whilst it's over there and get the gates bigger on certain parts of the tooling to stop all that. So they had a problem with it, but at the time when they got the kit and it was perfect, and it was something that happened in the manufacture that I understand.
Moss, I have to disagree.
All right.
I've got short shots in one of my kits. I've contacted Airfix to replace the parts.
Yeah.
They've sent me replacement parts, and they're exactly the same with the short shots.
The same, yeah.
Come on. It's 2025, mate. It's not 1995. I have to be honest. When you look at the Gannet, the Sea King, the Jaguar, the Lysander, the Anson, it's like it's from a different company. And I've got to be careful what I say here. A friend of mine from previous workings in when I was an engineer in injection molding, he actually contacted Airfix and said, I think this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. So maybe they're going to go and take his advice.
Yeah.
But we shall see.
I think I'm going to jump in real quick here. We have a gold standard in the industry, and I think most of us would say it's Tamiya, and more so with their newer kits within the last 5 years or so, starting out with the Japanese high in the KI-60, I can't, whatever. Okay, and then they did the P-38s, and then they did the F-4Bs and all the F-14 family, and then now the F-35 family. And at least with aircraft, that's kind of like the gold standard. So now one company has come out and boom. So now we all know that it is physically possible, and fairly or unfairly, all model companies are going to be judged against that because that's the gold standard. It can be done. It's been proven it can be done. So then the modeler is going to say, well, Airfix or Ryfield or Ming or Trumpeter, why can't you do what Tamiya does? Because if Tamiya can do it, in theory, anybody should be able to do it. Every company's different. Every company has their limitations. I get that. But I think that's just the human nature part of it, where it comes in and says it can physically be done. So then why can't you do that? And of course there's reasons why, but I think that's why we have these discussions about models and their shortcomings. Could Airfix help themselves if they could get the tooling out of India? Probably, but that's a whole another kettle of corn.
That's a proper, we've had that debate forever, so
and every company, to me, it goes to Philippines. It's just all the logistics behind each company. I just think that when one company can do it so well, be it fair or not comparison, it's just that's just human nature. It's just the way it is.
Just saying here, I thought it was quite interesting. I do like this AFC nugget. Is there a German Moz hosting a panel that's discussing the good and bad of Revell? I doubt it.
Possibly, right?
Thank you.
Jim says, comment, completely agree, Nugget. There's not this level of hate for Revell in Europe, and they shovel some crap at times.
But there's warranted criticism at Revell. Given, for example, everyone's getting fed up of them shoveling out matchbook kits as brand new or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's been taken on, and that is something you're going to get done about that. So
question for Nice Boarding Bench. Those kits that are perfect, are they perfect because you've used your experience to make them that way, or did they not need extra work?
No, Julian. If you take the Tamiya 1/32 scale, Corsair, Mustang, Mosquito, Spitfire,
0, or did you say
0? not so much the Zero, Jim, to be honest.
That was their first one, though, wasn't it?
Few little issues, hadn't it? Because it's all like workable and stuff.
And that was their first go.
If you take the Spitfire, the Mustang, the Corsair, the Mosquito, a beginner could build those kits and produce a beautiful, beautiful model, because the way they're designed, engineered, you know, like the canopy, the windscreen is part of the fuselage, so the glued on bit is not part of your clear part. You know, absolutely beautiful, and you can almost clip it together.
No, it goes together without glue on the.
And that's what Airfix don't have. But when you look at if you look at my reviews of the Jaguar, the Gannet, and the Sea King, I think I said it in all 3 of those videos. If you put this in a Tamiya box and told me it was Tamiya, I would believe you. You know, they're that good. And then the Stalwart came out.
So then here's a question. Does that beg to be a design or designer issue in the company?
There's quality control.
QC. That's basically Airfix sending all the corrections needed to India, and they're not listening.
India.
No, it's not that, James. It's tool design. When you design an injection mold tool, you have to put gaps that allow the air to escape, and that stops your short shots. So if you have a tool that's completely closed and you're trying to inject plastic into it, it's like trying to push a bicycle pump against your finger. It's not going to go. You need to have gaps smaller than what the plastic will flow. So generally 4 or 5 thou in a mold tool allows the plastic to go, which is why you sometimes see flash, because the plastic will flow into that gap and give you flash. That's the problem with the Gannet. The sink marks are just
You get sink marks on Rebel kits. You get sink marks on Tamiya kits.
I've got sink marks on Tamiya. Yeah.
Yeah.
Older.
Yeah, me too.
New stuff.
I've got,
on mini arts as well.
I've got 2 trolleys here. One's covered in sink marks, all dealt with, filled up.
Yep.
The other one's got no sink marks. Brilliant.
Yep.
Like I said,
beautiful little kit.
Every kit has them. Well, generally, but you just deal with them.
John's got one in America, and he's got ribbon on the way.
Thank you.
Going back to the whole thing about the marketing side of it. If there's a company that's trying to get people into scale modeling more than anybody else, is Airfix. With the way they have done their, the Twitter or the X, every morning you wake up and there's a post from them saying, something along the lines of scale modeling. They push out what people are doing. If somebody's put an Instagram post up of their latest Spitfire build, they tag them or they share it on their wall. There's no other company really that is like Airfix go to the Riat and Bovington Tank Museum to show their wares. I know Revell is starting to go to a few scale model shows and stuff, but if there's a company that I think is going in the right direction with marketing, even though they make certain errors, then I'd rather have the certain errors than no marketing at all on those platforms.
For me, I would rather see, rather than a coin or a brochure about the model that you're buying for the first 500 kits or whatever, I would rather see like what Qatari do and give you some 3D printed extras, or chuck in some photo etch, or chuck in a HGW seatbelt set, or something that you can use.
And that's what we talked about earlier, Nige.
Yeah.
Coin or whatever. you know,
The Edward Royal editions. That's what we were talking about earlier, like those ones.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
there's
I've been out there.
that-
I've been watching you.
Pretty far the Wolf 190, didn't they?
Yeah, and I think if at a marketing, if that was your general marketing to model it, like that was your most commonplace, was these royal style with extras, that'd go really well. Of course, still do your pint glass and boxings, but for Father's Day, for Christmas Day, make that the true special edition, because you only do a limited run of them for those events. But if you're going to if you want to start driving more sales for modelers, it's going to start being those royal style kits.
Yeah,
and
but
you know,
but there's a big but here. Kitty Hawk, they've now come back, haven't they? As Zinzali modeling or whatever. They did it's not there anymore.
No.
They did a Black Hawk type helicopter. I think it's called a Seahawk.
Yeah.
And it's a carrier-based helicopter, and it's got American flags and beautiful decals all over it. It's beautiful. Okay. And the first 500 kits came with the resin GAU 8 gun that was hanging out of the side.
Yeah.
You know, like the bloody the
Gatling.
Yeah,
Gatling gun.
So they supplied the first 500 kits came with that gun. The trouble is, after 500 kits, they didn't supply it. But there wasn't a plastic alternative. You just didn't get the gun.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, giving you the option to have these special parts in the first 500 kits is great, but please give us a plastic alternative afterwards.
Yeah, but then that also drives the sales up, doesn't it? Because it's a true limited edition.
Yeah, exactly. That's the marketing. Hey, be one of the first. Got to get this kit. Be one of the first 500 to get this kit. Buy. And then I got to have it. And there's a big rush on it. And then the sales drop off. Well, guess what? Maybe it's that 500 that they had to hit their number on.
The trouble is, Jim, it's not like Airfix offering you a 148 Spitfire with a resin cockpit for the first 500. It's this kit has the gun, and after the first 500, you don't have the gun.
Then you better, if you want
to build that model accurately without that gun.
But then that would actually entice me to buy it more. The fact that I was getting something that I had to buy it now because I wouldn't be able to get it in future.
But they didn't tell you that you weren't getting the gun in plastic.
Okay. Well, that's a comms thing. Then that should be very clearly stated.
Yeah.
This edition comes with it. Yeah. No chance after this. Buy them whilst they last.
Yeah.
That's a comms issue. The concept is good.
The other thing I've noticed, and I'm sure you guys have noticed as well, pretty much everything now that comes out of China is limited edition.
Well,
that
now
will reappear.
We're limiting this to 3 million copies.
There is a certain manufacturer in the Czech Republic that's very popular that does kind of the same thing.
God, yeah.
Nigel ended up swearing an awful lot about a certain kit that was a limited edition from Edard.
Yes.
I've still got the box.
I just want to. I personally, when it comes to this talk about, I'd rather have a 3D printed part in my Airfix kit than a coin or masking set. I totally get all that, but those companies that are doing this have in-house 3D printing facilities, masking facilities, or to create these things, like Edard and Trumpeter. They've got their own. Airfix have to find an outsider to do it. So while they've been doing the coins and stuff now, doesn't mean in the future that they won't do this. They've done their tests now that they found it. They've used Edard obviously, but I don't think they will. They'll continue to use Edard. They would have, So like the masking sets, they might go to a different company and say we want masking sets designed for this, before we release it. So they have to go looking for a third part manufacturer, the outside manufacturer, to do these things. Okay, I don't think India can do it. They can do that. Now this goes. The next question is, what if those 3D printed parts they put in those boxes become shite? You know, there's a problem with the masking set that they, this is the thing I'm saying about Airfix is that to put a coin out or to put a pint glass out is relatively easy. To add a masking set or 3D parts to something, even if it's limited to 500 lots, there's a lot of time and effort will go into that, and not so much with that, if you see what I mean. So at the moment, they're doing this. They've now done it for the Spitfire to test the waters. So maybe you'll see a certain change now that, when I don't think they'll ever put this sort of stuff in a first release kit. They might put the masking set in, but not 3D parts, because they'll probably use that as a way of selling that tooling again further down the line. If you see what I mean,
I have no interest whatsoever in a coin, a pint glass, anything. I'm not interested at all. I would rather have, resin wheels or a bit of photo etch or something like that.
Well, this is what I think. Like Zinzad said right at the beginning, where we have a vacuum of information, is that if we had the breakdown, say, of sales, just even a couple of years ago, so let's say it's slightly out of date, but the proportion of kits that Airfix sell to modelers versus general public, and see what that proportion is, because that then may also inform their marketing decisions of what goes more general versus what's more specialist.
But why the hell would they do that? They're a business. They won't do that. They tell you profit loss in the tax accounts affairs and whatever. Why should they? What right have we got to know?
No, we haven't. But I'm saying as a point of interest to understand why their marketing is. They don't have to tell us, because that's again a business secret, whatever you want to call it. But it just helps us understand as a concept.
I don't think we need to understand. They've made decisions on these kits, and I do it. It's like this argument about the ME410 being I've got the latest mystery box here, and in the mystery box, I'm going to do a video on it anyway, but you've got like an answer 148, okay? You've got a Sea King in there as well, a 148 Sea King. You got a chipmunk, in this box, and they say, are they devaluing the actual product by doing that? No, because
no, not at all.
Because if you think about it, like for instance, I got the opportunity. So the new Honda Civic 2025 edition is £32,000. I thought what, but they said that they've got a 2024 edition, which is exactly the same as a 2025 edition, except it comes with an upgraded. Something about the heated windows in the front, and there's upgraded, display at the, and they've got different colours on the seats. Like I could have the old 2024 version for $5,000 cheaper. It'd still have a 25 plate on it, but it'd be 2024. That's how it works. $5,000 different.
Honda Civic tends to be.
So isn't that the same with model kits? They bring out a tool in, brilliant, and then they decide we're going to bring out a new scheme and everything. So we're going to sell off the 2-year-old kit, so we've got room for this new one with the new schemes and everything. They're not devaluing the product at all. They've already made their money on the tooling probably, and now they're redoing it this way. So to say that they're devaluing the tooling, this is the business way. They try to give you, and look at the iPhone, for instance. I've got the iPhone 15 here. My wife's got the iPhone 16. Visually, there's no difference in it. But on her phone, she's got a little sensor on the back, and it's got a bigger RAM, a bit quicker on the phone, higher display. But it's the same thing.
The only thing I would say, if they're able to give that change, like I think, isn't it like £180 value supposedly in these mystery boxes? I think that cost £90 or something like that.
Yeah.
Does that not tell you that there's a lot of surplus stock if they're able to do that?
No, because
you don't think so.
No, I don't think so, because they turn it. They what's it called? They change it every single month. There's a different one every single month.
Yeah.
but also if they, because they get that first load of shipment in, and then they replenish their supplies, they've always got to have a minimum level, haven't they? And then they think, oh, we're getting close to next year's releases now. We need to make some space on the shelves. We'll just lower what we've got in stock now. And I think that's how it works. That's how businesses work. Surely it does. You never put the earlier date. You never put the later date milk in front of the earlier milk, do you? You know what I mean? You've got to, when you restock your milk, you put the fresh milk in behind yesterday's milk.
But it's like if you go on Domino's app, Domino's pizzas.
Yeah.
If you want to go and walk into Domino's and buy a large pizza, it's going to cost you 25 quid. If you use the app and you get a side as well, you can get 30% off. If you spend more than £50, you can get 60% off.
Right.
And it's exactly the same as Airfix is doing. And Domino's is not old stock or new stock. It's stock turning over every day.
It's done for a simple reason, which is to keep the cash moving around the business.
Volume. Yeah, volume.
It's keeping cash moving. You have to realize the value of your stock in order to keep the business going. If you don't do that, you're lost. It's really simple.
Yeah, and it is to do with cash flow, but what does that then tell you about the business if they're having to generate that much cash flow without moving the product on?
No, to be honest,
without having to do it.
To be honest with you, it doesn't really tell me very much.
100%.
Sorry, one at a time. Jim, then say what you said. Sorry, say what you said, Zinni, and then I'll go to Jim. What did you just say then?
It doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't say anything to me that a business sells volume at a lower price. It doesn't mean anything because they all do it. Doesn't matter who they are.
Exactly.
Yeah. Go on then, Jim. You're next.
Yeah. At the end of the day, this is where I'll disagree with Ben. At the end of the day, businesses exist to make money. And if they have to invent new ways to make money and new profit streams, then they're going to do it. I think you're reading a little bit too much into it in this instance that, oh, what does this say? I don't think it says anything other than this company's trying to make a buck. And they put out their initial batch, and everybody was going to get one. Hey, now let's do something different to move more stock, because this is what we're about, making money.
Yeah, because I was saying, my first quibble in business was selling T-shirts. I bought £100 worth of T-shirts, and I sold. I think it was like 100 T-shirts. 50 T-shirts for £100, and I was selling them to my friends at college for a £5 each. And I was making all this money, and I said, look, I've made £100 already. And my friend said, yeah, but you still got 20 T-shirts left. Or you've not made any money at all. You've only made what you've bought.
Yeah,
you've got to sell those other ones. And in the end, I was selling those T-shirts for £3 each, because that was when my profit was. You know what I mean? It was, that was a big lesson for me when I think I was 16. I think it was 15 or 16.
But even with that simple example, why were you selling them at free? Because the demand no longer was there? Did you have to? Because you initially could sell them at £5, but now you're having to sell them at free.
Because everybody got one. So I was selling the rest of them cheaper, because and also at the time it was getting to the end of the school year, or the college year, sorry, and I just couldn't, everybody was going home, and basically I was selling them as or buy two for a £5 or something like that, and then it worked out that my money, the actual profit, was in the dregs that I was selling off. It wasn't that initial investment. I had to get that money back, and that's the kind of thing that happens when I buy from auctions now. I see a job lot of product, and the first thing I do is look at that job lot of product and say, right, there's 20 quid in that watch, there's a £5 in that, there's a £5 in that, there's 30 quid. I'll pay 30 quid for that lot, hoping that the rest of the stuff in there will make me money, but I've got to find at least £30 worth of value minimum.
You project your break-even point, essentially.
And I think that's kind of what happens. And I think, I don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that in one of the Airfix, not Airfix and Chills, or in one of the live streams from Airfix, or there was something that they'd done, I'm sure that they never expect a profit on the first year of a release of a tool. All they use that is to gain the money back on that tool, and then the following years is where the money's
Yeah,
at.
the subsequent releases.
Yeah. So, but they always hit so when they release it. That's why I think they go for subjects that haven't been done before, because I think there's, moving on, trying to get the, get the gauge and the feel. Because I didn't realize how popular that ME 410 was going to be. I never really heard of a 410, but they were going all over the place at Telford, weren't they? I didn't think there was, and that's the thing about the Stolly. I never even I've seen them around, but I had no interest in building one. So I saw that box art, and I had to build it, and I built it within a week of getting it. And I think that's what's happened with the Gannet for me.
But I think to give Airfix their due on marketing success, when they got Adam Tooby on board for the artwork, because that is marketing in itself, the artwork, and how many people with Airfix boxes have gone, that's, excuse me French, bloody beautiful, I'm going to do it, and they're not interested in the subject. And I think that's something Airfix has to be commended for, is their artwork is always on the money.
I don't think there's a manufacturer now that uses the scale model to sell their kit. They don't use I don't think there's a scale model company. I'm pretty sure there isn't, that uses a scale model picture as a way to sell a kit. Is always like you say, something in action.
I think are you talking about the main box art or on the side?
The main box art, yeah.
Main box art, yeah. No,
Well, funnily enough, I built the Wellington from the box art for the first release, which is the one. It's got the VC. It's basically got the VC winner, because he was put the flames out thing. And I built Arthur Robert.
But I don't think them selling last year's stock cheaper devalues the product. But as I said, going back to marketing and gimmickry and gimmicks and whatnot, I think anything to sweeten the deal. Crumbs, I remember the reason I what was it I bought? There was something I bought, and it sounded really daft. Right? Just bear with me on this. What was it I bought? And I bought it because it had batteries in it. The other one didn't. I can't think what it was, but because it came with batteries, you have to go and.
That's what swung it.
So what did I buy? I can't remember what it was now. Something for the house anyway. But the reason I bought this particular thing was because it had batteries in it, and I couldn't be asked buying this product and going to get batteries. That's what it was. So I don't know. I just think that sometimes, I think Airfix knows their market. They've been, you talk to, and they know what they're doing. There's a reason why the Jaguar came out this year, not last year, or vice versa. There's reasons. They've got a set plan, and like you said, they've only got one pot they can deal from. And if I want to be really blunt, there's one, and I've done a video on it. It's going to come out next week or so, of the 3 major changes that Airfix have done. Let's talk about starter sets. They decided we want to give the best experience to somebody that's never built a scale model before. So they've spent 5 years, basically putting out 16 scale models that I think hit most points. If you want to build a boat, you've got the Golden Hind, is it? If you want to build a tank, you've got a Tiger 1 and a Sherman Firefly with molded tracks. So it's one push track. You've got the starter set cars with the new supercars. You've got the old cars like the E-Type Jag, for the youngsters, for the older guys, sorry. They've got a Shannon lifeboat. And also they've got the planes. They've got the Spitfire, the Tornado, the Typhoon, the Euro, the Lightning. There's another one, and they've got the Mustang and
the 109.
Yeah, the 109. I think that's what, and the Land Rover,
The Landy.
And that the only thing I would say is they need to slightly upgrade the starter guide to tell them to water down the paints. Don't just put a thick and to. That's the only. That's the only thing I think they need to improve on with that starter guide, is to say, look, water, put 50% water with your paint and give it 2 coats. That's what they should do. But they have got videos on all these starter sets on YouTube, so you can follow along how to build that particular model kit. If there's any company that's trying to make the point of access to scale modeling to the forefront, including their marketing, like i.e. with the Scouts, they do a pack now of E-type Jags with paints, glues, and a brush to the Scouts for £35. Was it £40 or something? So if there's anything that Airfix are doing right, and with their marketing and the investment they've made, is with those new fresh starter sets. Prove me wrong. Your witness, my lad.
I can't. I'm not going to. I'm not going down that road. Yeah. You're right. I think
they also do the alternative for the stressed out parents of those Scouts. They do the E-type Jag with James's gin.
Yeah,
Yes.
They'll come.
And that's an excellent bit of marketing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think we're going to see basically the Spitfire with the rocks, the Hammond whiskey or gin within the next few years.
There'll be something.
Yeah.
No.
But as I said, I think Airfix, I think they're going in the right direction. I know there's tiers when it comes to QC. And that's the one thing that you will find when you have a company. If you look at Tamiya and all them lot who are doing it all in house, it is a choice. But I don't think there's, unless Airfix or Hornby want to bring it back to the UK, there's going to be, they won't be able to. They can't afford to do that. Just in the building alone, what have you got? 700 tool-ins you've got to store. Is it 700 tool-ins or 600 tool-ins? I think it was. You've got to store. And just remember, since from 2006 to 2017, they released over 90 new tools. Hornby did for FX.
That must have cost a fortune.
Yeah, the investment. When Linden got on board, that's what they wanted to do. They said, right, what are we going to do? We need to get new tooling out there. Hence why the half-built or the half-designed Hellcat went to market, because he said, let's do a lot of R&D. Let's get in there. Let's get these tools out. And just for the fact, out of those 90 brand new tools from 2006 to 2015 or 16, it was, or 17, I shit you not, there was 9 Spitfires.
10%.
They all sold. That's why they do it. So, but yeah, I have a gimmick. I like a gimmick.
Now I've got one final gimmick. Now this is. Do people think this was a good idea or a bad idea? That
I love it. Yeah, Christmas jumpers
was brilliant.
Yeah, Christmas jumpers. I've got an even better one. What about these?
I think that's a step too far.
For fuck's sake, boss.
I know. What do you reckon?
That's it, you fucking done it now.
That's too much. That is.
Jesus.
That's too much, is it?
That's too much.
That is too much.
Yeah, that's like Airfix condoms or something.
Yeah. Airfix condoms made in India. One in 10.
Oh.
You wouldn't want a short shot on those.
About a short shot.
Yeah.
If you got Airfix condoms, they wouldn't fit.
No, they wouldn't fit.
And you'd shrink.
Jim, that's funny.
But yeah, no. I think that was a brilliant idea by them. That was one of their marketing sweet spots.
Yeah. If you see, I said like that was a nice one. The Scale Electric ones. Do you see the Scale Electric ones? They just like Scale Electric on, didn't they? That was it.
Yeah, I think those Christmas jumpers were great because they built on nostalgia. There was a clear vision, clear message with them. I thought, well, that's the best bit of sort of like merch they've done. Until I've clearly seen those Airfix glasses, and I'm so sold on them, I will get a set, with prescription lenses. I'll drive down the road with them.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I think they were giving them out at Riyadh or something, weren't they?
I didn't see them. I didn't. Yeah, I wouldn't wear them personally.
Airfix glasses, for God's sake. Come on.
The baseball cap. Yeah.
Do you wear Airfix
with
underpants, Moss?
Pardon?
Do you wear Airfix underpants?
If they sewed them, I would. I've got Airfix socks.
I gotta be honest. I've just remembered this. I bought a pack of 5 underpants at Tesco's, and in the label in the back, it's got supporting the NHS in underpants.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ, why are they supporting the NHS with underpants?
Literally or figuratively?
I'm not that old that I pissed myself,
But I just think every brand needs a merch line, and if you want to, like I said, I bought that. You got the hats, you got the water bottles now. It is what it is, and I think and it's like if you like your Yamaha bikes, you show me a man or a biker who hasn't got some sort of regalia or something with a Yamaha patch on it or the tuning forks. Do you know what I mean?
will say this, Ross. I will say this. If I'm into Yamaha bikes, or I'm into Ford Mustangs, or I'm into Fiat 131s, or I'm into Harley Davidsons, I wear a T-shirt to the pub with any of those logos on them.
Yeah.
And no one say a word. If I walk in the pub with an Airfix T-shirt, I'll get the piss pulled out of me left, right, and centre.
You reckon?
Yes, I've been told that.
Well, it's funny because I wear, I don't understand why that is, because I used to wear Commodore 64 T-shirts because that was the first computer I ever programmed on, was a Commodore 64. And I get loads of people say, "Oh, I remember that. I used to do that when I was." And the other one I wear, which I do a lot with gigs with, is I have Zippy from Rainbow. I got a Zippy T-shirt that I wear at gigs, and everybody says, "Oh, I remember watching that when I was a kid."
Sounds like Keir Starmer.
Yeah, I've got I got an Airfix 148 T-shirt that I've worn to gigs, and people think, "Oh, you do Airfix too? I did that when I was a kid." So I don't see why they take the piss out of you. But then we are living in a material world, and I am a material girl. Yeah.
Sorry.
I've never bought a kit for a coin, but I do get a bit jealous when Moz gets his set out. Yeah.
That
sounds all very dodgy.
I do. I do. I like my coins.
Don't worry, all Airfix protected, regardless of what set.
But then again, when I was a kid, I was collecting. I was collecting shinies for my Panini sticker album. Oh, I got a shiny in this pack.
I don't know what a shiny is. I'll probably show
when
my age.
do you remember the old you used to collect stickers and put in a book?
It's only 25.
Oh, I don't really don't remember them.
I did match attacks and that, like the card collecting. I can remember that at school.
Yeah, but they used to have shinies in match attacks. Didn't they have special ones with holograms on and
stuff.
stuff.
Oh, that's what you mean. Oh, okay, yeah.
So there's a point, Moz.
Yeah,
Airfix is a very nostalgic brand in the UK.
Yeah,
they're only doing what you guys grew up with back in the day. You collected back then. They're doing it now. So maybe this is a perfect marketing ploy for them because it's worked for them in the past. It's something they've done all along. They're appealing to the 40, 50-year-old guy that did something back when he was a teenager,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. I think there is merit to this because, you can, back in the day it was cards in cigarettes and tea bags, wasn't it? You used to collect the old tea things. But I think collecting is still in the main because you got the likes of the Pokemon, and Beyblades, and there's always something out there that a generation will end up collecting. What's the little figures that look like puff girls, whatever they're called?
Oh yeah.
Don't know what you're watching.
Is it
Yeah.
funky pups and stuff like that? And you've got like Darth Vader and things like that, you know.
People keep them in the boxes or
Oh,
whatever.
are you talking about like the animated or like caricature style?
Yeah, they're like funky pops, I think they're called.
Funko Pops.
What are they called?
Funko Pops.
Funko Pops, that's the one.
They're worth
There's always something to collect.
serious money they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. But everyone loves a good trend. You just have to jump on the trend train at the right time.
Yes.
I bet, but you look on eBay for the price of these coins, some of them go for. Just saying, you know.
But do they sell?
Moss, are you talking about what they sell for or what people are asking?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
What they sell for.
Right.
If you're getting it, in theory, you're getting it for free, and they're usually going for between. Well, I've seen them go for between 20 and 40 quid. Some of these coins.
Wow.
But you just think these are all limited editions, only 500 of each, or 1,000 of a couple of them. You just think in 20 years' time, they could be worth money because Airfix don't do coins anymore. Airfix doesn't exist or something, and then it'd be worth. But you know, I just collect them because I like them, and it's something different. But then I'm no different to somebody who collects. Say, for instance, my friend Kim. He was at that show, Nigel, on Saturday.
Yeah.
He touched 150 quid on Russian aircraft. You know what I mean? He collects it. You know, he collects it.
Yeah, I think we're all collectors, aren't we, in some form? We've all got our own collection of a stash.
We're not collectors,
Mine is
we're
Harriers.
hoarders. We're hoarders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine is Harriers and Buccaneers and Tornadoes.
But yeah, it's I don't think. Oh, just one other thing about a gimmick. I think this is fantastic. Have you seen Armour Hobby with their new Mustang?
No.
Has anybody seen that?
No.
Let me just get it up here a minute, just quickly before we go. The Armour Hobby and then Mustang.
Does it come with a free blow-up dolly?
The Armour Hobby, where's it to? There's a picture of it. It now comes with a plastic clear jig so that you can what's it called? Build the wheels right on that kit. Armour Hobby have done it.
That's a fantastic idea. That's
I'm
not
trying
a
to
gimmick.
find a picture
That's
of it.
brilliant.
That's an engineering solution.
Yeah, to get the
You,
Armour Hobby.
you say about engineering solutions. You look at every kit Paramagit as
Yep.
Every kit's got a mask, or they've got a separate piece explaining how to tool it.
Mm-hmm.
It's using it. He uses a jig for the wing to build the undercarriage for the Mosquito. Brilliant.
Yep. And that's not gimmicks. That's probably, like you say, engineering solutions. That is.
Yeah, that's not a gimmick.
Yeah, agreed.
Let me just share this screen then. Share screen. Is it that one? It must be that one then. Yeah, there you go. So add to stage. So you can create this jig here that will, if I can move on the page, do that. So you can get the wheels.
That's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I wonder why they made it clear.
Because it was part of the clear part. It comes with the clear part. So
well, isn't the clear plastic a little bit stiffer as well, though?
That's what it is.
Yes, it is more rigid, yeah.
Yeah.
And it'd be a lot stronger, a lot harder as well. You get this bit here and you attach these tabs to the left and right to the front, and then basically
that is really good.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fantastic.
So you can then that's on that new
that's on a Mustang 3 by the looks of it.
Yeah.
There's a post on it. I can't see the few posts. So it comes, this new Mustang comes with 3 new parts, identification lights, camera compartment glazing for the F60 reconversion, aerodynamic mirror fairing. And then you can, a new injection plastic mounting jig will allow you to align the landing gear to the correct angle and secure the finished model with rubber bands. So you can fix it into a box with double-sided tape, perfect for safe transport to model shows and contests.
Bloody hell!
You can share that. So that's something which I saw.
Now, I didn't know about this, and that post is from July.
Yeah.
So that makes it interesting. That hasn't been marketed a bit wider.
Yeah.
To be honest, the P51. It's the P50. Essentially, it's the P51C. It's a beautiful kit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Old Crow, it's called.
Old Crow. That's
it.
Comes with 3D parts as well. There's
I
loads.
would imagine
that's
that
different.
jig would be the same for all versions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't change the wing, did they?
No.
No, but these have got puttied wings as well.
Yeah.
The puttied wings. These are all the schemes for it. You got Old Crow.
That Old Crow is probably the most famous, or one of the most famous.
I mean, if you want things like the marketing, then obviously Armour Hobby, they tend to do the kits of their planes, and they do. Obviously, you get a hidden decal scheme, and if you get the expert version. So I've got the P51C. It's all got the captured Japanese markings.
I just wish they did 48th.
1/72 scale.
Yeah, I wish
70 seconds, lovely. Love it.
That's a test shot. Look at all that filler they've used. I'm joking. So there you go. You got your puttied wings there. You can see there's very little panel lines on there because they're all puttied in. And there's the kit there with when you've got but that's it though. That's the money shot, that is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Aero Cobra.
Yeah, Cobra there.
Aero Cobra is another one because it's got all the ballast weights.
It's a tricycle, isn't it?
I'd love to do one of those sometime.
Yeah. I thought they had a picture here again. I was just looking down. So that's August. But yeah, that's the thing, that jig. So you can transport it wherever you like then without, if you wanted to take it to a model show.
You might have, I don't know if you missed it, there was, you scrolled past the Aero Cobra.
Did I? Sorry.
It's okay. Yeah.
Do you want that one, do you?
I've never done one, and I've kind of always wanted to.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I've never done one, John.
Doesn't really appeal to me, to be fair. But you can see
beautiful.
It does. It appeals to me because of the technical challenge they had on it, because they did tricycle undercarriage, had a machine gun go through the front of the bloody.
Yeah. That was a German idea, wasn't it? They took on.
Oh my God. It was all business, man. You know?
Yeah.
Well, this is the one with the engine behind the pilot, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can see behind the canopy that's the exhaust.
Yeah.
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 That's the
the nose for all the armament.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's quite a lot on here. It's as I said, it's
They are the Rolls Royce of little kits, aren't they?
And the price of it, I believe, if you want, you can pre-order it now. Is £18.29.
Yeah.
Mental, isn't it?
Wow.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
It's dirt cheap.
Is that it there? Let me just say £22.50, sorry. For that kit. Can I change the screen?
That was probably a pocket money kit.
Yeah.
It's €22.50, so it's probably about £18, like you said.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. And if you pre-order it, if you want it on a 20-day postage, it's only €8 on top of that, so £6 to ship it to you.
Just wait for a local shop to get it.
Well, that's pre-order, so which I've got no problem with. I like pre-orders are good, aren't they? Gives them an idea of what, who wants what, really, doesn't it? I guess so. Yeah, it's one of them. Anyway, folks, it's 10 past 10 nearly. We've gone over, but we did start a bit late. Again, thank you, panel, for joining me to discuss this this topic of marketing.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. It's always a pleasure. Next week we're going to hammer on about mini art and how no one can build them because they're just too complex, I think.
Oh, come on.
Mods is the rank amateur. He's not built mini art kit.
If you can't build a mini art, you're not a very good modeler.
Somebody said that. Somebody told me actually that that you're not a petrol head until you own a
Italian car.
Alfa Romeo.
Alfa Romeo, innit? You're not a real petrol head until you've had an Alfa Romeo. So you're not a real scale modeler unless you've built a mini art kit.
Or you're not a real bike. You're not a real biker until you've owned it.
Completely ruined my
Gilera.
I've had a Gilera. I've currently got a Harley Davidson. And I would like to say, somebody commented, or I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name, sir, but somebody commented, would I buy a coin if it was Fiat 131? Yes. So basically what I said was bollocks.
And on that bombshell, we're going to say goodnight. See you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.